And here we have another Lunatic Monday. This is our third Monday, and coincidentally, today is the 21st, and 2 plus 1 equals 3. Today, we're going to talk about Sin, the ancient Mesopotamian moon god, and coincidentally, as well, the name Sin has 3 letters. Let's take a look. Sin, representing the moon, animal's bowl, and symbol the crescent. So besides representing the moon, Sin's other main role has been described as that of a pastoral deity. He was associated with cattle and with dairy products. Last Monday we were talking about milk. And this link is reflected in his secondary names Abkar, meaning shining cow, Abililu, the one who makes the cows abundant. Abililu sounds pretty delilu to me. And in addition to cows, he could also be associated with sheep. So Sin was a very important god in ancient times, and considering his connection with cattle herding, his cult probably initiated after the domestication of animals. And he had such an important role in ancient Mesopotamian religion for millennia that he was also considered as the main god in their pantheon. Well, despite Sin's popularity documented in textual sources, depictions of him are not common in Mesopotamian art. So his most common attribute was the crescent moon. And even here on the cylinder seal, he's not depicted as any of the human characters. He's there as the crescent moon. And he was frequently compared to bull horns and to a barge. Furthermore, the logogram Yusakar, which could be used to write his name, was derived from a term referencing the crescent. So here you can see the strong relationship between all those themes: the crescent moon, the bull's horn, and his role as a shepherd. Now, the Sakar part of his name made me think of Saqqara in Egypt, where the Djoser pyramid, supposedly the first pyramid to have ever been built. It seems like they don't know the origin of the name Saqqara. The name Saqqara most likely originates from an ancient Egyptian funerary god Sukkot, who was associated with the necropolis of Memphis. Some scholars suggest alternative origins, potentially from a local Berber tribe called the Beni Saqqar, but this is less widely accepted. And here we have the Saqqar, also spelled Sekar, and in Greek, Sakaras or Sokaras. Is a hawk or falcon god of the Memphite necropolis in the ancient Egyptian religion, who was known as a patron of the living as well as a god of the dead. So, based on his depiction, anybody that is somewhat familiar with the ancient Egyptian religion would guess that this depiction refers to Horus. And when reading the patron of the living as well as a god of the dead, that role is usually attributed to Osiris. So by reading this article here, it seems like there is a relationship between the Sukkar and Osiris. And obviously we're talking about an ancient religion where we're only basically making some speculations for something that is a religion that is already built on speculations. We can't really take any of this seriously, but if you try to bring them because it's so speculative that it doesn't really make sense. From this point, we're just living in a very fantastical world. Then you hear the squeaking, like, no, no, no. Anyway, moving on. So from the article, we get this gold statues of Sukkot. I'd like to see the sources for that. I mean, to me, it just seems like a golden depiction of a bird. And this is the one that I really enjoy as this modern depiction of the sucker. So sucker with an outstretched wings seen from the Joseph Smith hypocephalus. So when you take a look at this Joseph Smith hypocephalus, it's become even funnier. The one on top is the modern interpretation of figure number 4, the one below, and you can see, so this is the image on the papyrus. And then we take a look at this collection. So the Joseph Smith papyrus are Egyptian funerary papyrus fragments from ancient Thebes dated between 300 and 100 BC, which, along with 4 mummies, were once owned by Joseph Smith, the founder of the Latter-day Saint movement. Smith purchased the mummies and papyrus documents from a traveling exhibitor in Cortland, Ohio in 1835. Smith said that the papyrus contained the records of the ancient patriarchs Abraham and Joseph. The funny but also tragic thing about this is that Joseph Smith founded Mormonism, a whole religion, and I'm sure he based some of his ideas on those papyri, and who knows if they were actually real and not forged. Regardless, Abraham ends up in Egypt with Sarah, his wife and also sister, and he allows the pharaoh to sleep with her. Out of this, they leave Egypt with donkeys, silver, and slaves. You can read the story to grab more details, but perhaps that set up a pattern for them and other men. Hey, do you want to sleep with my sister wife in exchange for donkeys, silver, and slaves? And then we have Joseph, and this is one of the patriarchs, by the way, the founders. And Joseph ended up in Egypt because he was sold into slavery by his own family. He served the pharaoh and eventually managed to build up a good relationship with the pharaoh. Again, you can read more of the story to grab more details, but eventually Joseph settled in Egypt and his family also. And then we have Moses, who killed an Egyptian before deciding to take his people out of Egypt and possibly to where they came from, and then possibly receiving a very self-reflective commandment, "You shall not kill," when he had already killed. His mom threw him down the river and the Egyptian princess saved him. But since we're in Egypt, let's take a look at Sinai, where Moses received his commandments. From Hebrew, Sinai. The etymology, it is named perhaps for sin, a moon goddess, here they say it's a moon goddess, worshipped by Sumerians, Akkadians, and ancient Arabs. The name was extended to the whole peninsula. To me, it's interesting that the whole peninsula in Egypt is named Sinai. It's believed that the name Sinai may predate the biblical narrative and could be derived from the Babylonian moon god Sin or the desert of Sin. In etymology, too, from the Hebrew word Sin, meaning China. So from Sin, let's take a look at the actual letter sin or shin. The 21st letter, this is very relevant considering today is the 21st. And so the Phoenician letter sin gave rise to our letter S and the Greek letter sigma. Here the origins of sin, supposedly based on those Egyptian hieroglyphs, which some attribute to a bowl. And since we're talking about the shin letter, let's take a look at the Japanese shin, which means God, a deity, a god, a kami, a mysterious or incomprehensible force. Compare English act of God, is also where they get the name Shinto. And when we explore this character from Chinese, so from Shen in Chinese it becomes Shen with an E instead of an I, also meaning God, deity, spirit. We have some examples: Shen Wei, meaning spirit tablet, Kai Shen, meaning god of wealth. I wonder if there's a relationship between the one and the word cash. That'll be interesting. And then we have Sishen, god of death. Moving on to the Shin ring from Egypt. Going back to Egypt. In ancient Egypt, a Shin ring was a circle with a line tangent to it, represented in hieroglyphs as a stylized loop of a rope bound to a stick. Shin rings can most often be seen in the clutches of Horus, so there is a strong relationship between that and birds, either Horus or vultures. You can see that actually in the pyramid of Djoser. Could Djoser hold any relationship with Joseph? The fact that there are no pyramids in Luxor, where most of the ancient tombs and temples are concentrated, be an indication that the people settled there had a different cultural background. And since we're still in Egypt, why not mention again Cyrus the Great, which we also mentioned on Saturday. He has a I think that's how you say it, a crown. He is the founder of the Achaemenid Empire, or the Persian Empire. Coincidentally, the Ham supposedly first appeared with Akhenaton. So we have a similarity in the names as well, Achaemenid and Akhenaton. And then the crown to link those two things, but here we are going off track. It's still a Monday, so let's go to lunar themes. Going back to the bowl and the Shin letter, if you return the letter, it kind of looks similar to the number 3. I'm sure you have seen this symbol before. And the symbol is a cursive ligature and Devanagari, combining A with U, and the Chandra Bindu. Chandra is the moon god in the Hindu religion, and following the Chandra Bindu or Kendra Bindu means moon god, so Kendra or Chandra means moon. And here we have a soccer. Being a monkey never sounded like such a good compliment as now.